streaming, and you're watching Centex Sports Network.
This is why you need Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis brings the realness. Dive into the heart of sports with the most passionate commentary around. From pro to high school, Jalen's got the insight and energy you crave. Catch all the action weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network, only on YouTube. Join the conversation and elevate your sports knowledge with Centex Primetime. Don't miss it.
Need video or audio solutions? Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency, can transform any event. Check this out. We're talking live streaming that's crisp and clear, event audio that hits every note, and church video and audio solutions that'll enhance worship. Corporate events, we got those on lock too. From concerts to conferences, Lighthouse Streaming and Audio makes your vision shine. Book your appointment now at lighthousestreaming.com or call 254-252-4206 for a free consultation. Let's elevate your event and light up the stage.
Hello, my name is Roy Gillis, founder and CEO of Lighthouse Streaming. Over the last 4 years, we've had some tremendous successes, none of which could have been accomplished without you, our clients, and our viewers. From my family and the staff of Lighthouse Streaming, thank you.
What's up, everybody? Hello, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back into Centex Prime Time. I am your host, Jalen Gillis, getting ready to bring you through the prime time topics in sports, not just here in the Central Texas area, but from all around the nation. We want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here as we're halfway through the week. That means we are even closer to football being played. I was about to say 2 days closer, but actually get some football tomorrow night as well on the collegiate level and on the high school level here. So got a lot to talk about today on Centex Primetime. I want to thank everybody for watching with us on YouTube, Centex Sports TV/Centex Sports Network over on YouTube. Thank you guys for checking us out. As always, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Also, click the bell so you can get notified every time that we go live here on Centex Primetime, as we've got a lot to be able to bring you, not only this week, but going forward here as football season is in full effect. You have to stay tuned for coaches interviews, for player interviews. Tomorrow we'll get one of the top quarterbacks in the city will be on the podcast. So make sure you guys are getting ready for that. Hit that subscribe button, click that bell, like and share this stream whenever you can. Also, you can watch with us on Facebook, Centex Sports Network. And as always, go to our website, centexsportsnetwork.com. That is centexsportsnetwork.com. Go over there, check us out. Free subscription, just need your name and your email. You can get signed up, as we've got MCC volleyball starting up here very soon. MCC basketball will be right behind them as well, and then their baseball and softball season will kick off next after that. Of course, you can catch all of that action, as always, on Centex Sports Network, whether that is on YouTube or the website. So make sure you guys are going on there, getting subscribed and getting signed up. Well, we got a lot to talk about here today, folks. We'll talk about Baylor versus Auburn is here. We're just a couple of days away from the season being kicked off here in Waco, Texas at McLean Stadium. We'll talk about a couple of these high school games as well, getting for week one in high school football here in the Central Texas area. Of course, we'll cover some NFL topics, as the NFL is just almost a week away, 8 days away from starting on that September 4th, I believe, when the Cowboys will be taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. So make sure we are getting ready for that. We're super excited for that here. So we'll talk some football. We'll also talk some quick takes, some hot topics going on around the world of sports. And we'll cover a little bit of all of that here today on Centex Primetime. A little bit of a shortened episode as we get ready for the rest of this week. A lot of things coming on Friday. Friday Night Flex will start its first episode this week. Make sure you guys are tuning in for that. If you want to catch and cover any high school football in the Central Texas area, in the greater Waco area, you'll be able to catch all of that coverage right here on Friday Night Flex. I'm super excited about it. Wayne Walker will be here with me. Rocky Miller will be here with me as we go through and discuss all of the teams here in the greater Waco area. We'll have some post-game, we'll have some pre-game, some coaches, some players. We'll have a little bit of everything, folks, so make sure you guys are getting tuned in and getting ready for that. Well, as we jump right into it, like I said, folks, the season is right around the corner, and that means that football is here for the Baylor Bears. That is a team here locally that we love to watch in Baylor, as they're taking on an SEC opponent, A little bit different than their usual week 1 matchup. Usually we'll see Baylor versus SFA, Baylor versus Tarleton. Those are the games that you'll usually see Baylor opening their season with. And Arkansas Pine Bluff, somebody like that. But this year is different because they're opening up not only with the Power 4 team, but they're opening up with an SEC team. An SEC team that's got a lot to prove, an SEC team that's trying to rebound off of some down years, an SEC team that's got a coach in Hugh Freeze who's coaching for his job. I mean, it's that simple. This guy is coaching for his job in Hugh Freeze, so this Auburn team is going to resemble that. These guys are looking to prove themselves in the SEC. I would say they're tired of being a little brother to Alabama, but that'll never change. But they're tired of being an afterthought in the SEC for sure. They think they can come right into McLean Stadium, play the way they want to play, dictate pace. But Baylor's got to find a way to change that, and I think they will. Right now, Baylor is still 2.5 points given up to the Auburn Tigers on the spread. Auburn is a 2.5-point favorite in this game. Like I've told y'all throughout the week, this is a good place to start your parlay off on that plus 2.5 for the Baylor Bears, man. I think Baylor's going to be able to get this done against Auburn. They're going to have to run the ball. That's going to be the biggest thing for the Baylor Bears. When their offense was ignited last year, about halfway through the season in that Texas Tech game, a lot of that was due to the great play of Bryson Washington that opened up great play for Sawyer Robertson. We've got to see the same thing here in this game on Friday night if Baylor wants to come out with a win. You start the season off at home. They're giving you the advantage there. It's on a Friday night, nationally televised on Fox. Them and Colorado will both be playing at the same time, nationally televised. All eyes are going to be on Baylor in the green and gold. What are they going to be able to do? Well, if they can run the football with Bryson Washington, if they can replace the production of Dawson Pendergrass, who's going to be out for the remainder of the season, with guys like Caden Knighton, with guys like Joseph Dodds, who could potentially get some touches because we're seeing the young Michael Turner, big-time recruit out of North Richland Hills. He's going to be out for this game. He's already been listed out for this game along with Carl Williams, the DB, an experienced DB that's going to help Baylor out a lot. He's also out in week 1. But with Michael Turner not being able to play, Bryson Washington's going to have to get spelled. This is going to open up the door for Caden Knighton. Caden Knighton is a guy his name has been ringing bells all camp. If you've been following Baylor's fall camp, if you've been following their spring camp, Caden Knighton, as a true freshman, has been doing his thing in camp. He's been doing his thing. They're saying he's a tough tackle. He's hard to get down with the ball. Great run after the catch guy. Yards after contact. All of that. Caden Knighton, this could be the start of something big here. If he can come in, get the opportunity behind, because I think he'll be the number 2 against Auburn at the running back spot. Gets an opportunity behind Bryson Washington, who battled his own health injuries last year. Can Caden Knighton step up? I believe so. Dawson Pendergrass is close to 1,000 yards of production that you have to replace. Between Caden Knighton and between Michael Turner, I think they'll be able to do it. Another big thing for Baylor is their defense. I think their front seven is going to be one of the best in the Big 12. Led by guys like Keaton Thomas, led by guys like Jackie Marshall, 2 guys that we got to have a sit-down interview with. If you want to check that out, go over onto our YouTube, Centex Sports TV, and you can see our sit-down interview with Jackie Marshall and with Keaton Thomas. But with those 2 guys leading the front, Cooper Lance in that front seven, new transfers like Matthew Fobbs-White coming over from Tulane, guys coming over from FIU like Barnes, the inside linebacker, who's going to be a tremendous addition to this defense to try to replace that production that they lost from Matt Jones in last year. You bring in a guy like Barnes to go alongside Keaton Thomas. Their secondary is where most of my question marks would be. I'm sure other people's question marks as well. Can Caden Jenkins return to form? We've seen at times where he's played really well. We've seen at times where he's given up big plays. Opposite side of him, I think Tevin Williams is going to be the guy opposite side of him. How can he fare out there as well? What are they going to do at the star position, the star and safety position? They got a transfer from Northwestern and DJ Turner that was expected to come in this year, have a big impact, make a lot of noise, but was hurt in camp, and he's going to miss the entire season as well. So with guys like Devin Bobby, who they said looks really great, even Coach Aranda has said that he's playing his best football along with Simpkins, another guy that's had his moments for Baylor, hasn't been able to stay healthy. If those two guys can anchor the back end of that defense, and we'll see who they decide to put as star. DJ Coleman played really well in the LSU game towards the end of the year last year. Will Coleman get the spot in there? Carl Williams is going to spend some time at nickelback type of star position whenever he comes back from injury. If they can solidify the back end of Baylor's defense, I think this is going to be a really good defense. They were an opportunistic defense, took advantage of certain plays last year. If they can do the same, if they can turn the ball over, if they can rush the passer and stop the run, I think we'll be okay against the run. This Auburn team will get tested. We'll get tested against Auburn. They're going to want to run the ball. They're going to want to be physical to start off the game. All of these defensive tackles that Baylor was able to get through the transfer portal and through recruiting, those guys are going to be put on front display to see can they stop this run of the Auburn Tigers, because I'm not sold on Jackson Arnold. I've told y'all this before. Those of you that watched the show with me, I'm not sold on Jackson Arnold whatsoever. Didn't like how he played last year at Oklahoma. The clips we've seen this year out of camp don't look good. Hugh Freeze saying we might see some of Hugh Jackman and some other guys, Hugh Jackson out there and some other guys. That just shows you he's not confident in Jackson Arnold. This offense is going to go and going to stop with Jackson Arnold, similar to Oklahoma last year. Oklahoma had a terrible year, probably one of the worst years I've seen since I've been watching college football for Oklahoma. A lot of people placed the blame at Jackson Arnold's feet. I won't say that it was all his fault. I will say he contributed to it, though. They weren't able to get that offense going at all last year. This Auburn team is honestly working with less weapons. I think maybe better receivers, even though Oklahoma has a pretty good receiving core. But with Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton, you got two dogs like that, two true number ones in college football. You can do a lot with that. Can Baylor stop those guys? Can Baylor contain Jackson Arnold, not let him use his legs and get mobile, but make him stand in the pocket and have to make throws? If they can do that, I think Baylor's in good shape. I like this game for week 1 for the Bears. Plus 2.5, I've already told y'all. That's a good place to start it off right there on your Friday night to start the game off. Want to go over and talk about some high school football. Week one this weekend, just a couple of days away for college football and for high school football as well. Some notable week 1 matchups. We talked a little bit about it yesterday on the show. I want to talk some more about a few of these games in week 1. La Vega at Kennedale. I expect La Vega to have another great year this year. I expect La Vega to be right back. I said it yesterday. I think La Vega and Carthage are the cream of the crop in 4A Division II. La Vega's ranked number 3. Carthage is ranked number 1. I think we're looking at a collision course for those two guys to be right back in the state championship game in 4A. Will it be easy? Absolutely not. La Vega is losing a lot of production. Guys like Bryson Rowland, who was a 4-year starter, you can't replace that kind of production that Bryson Rowland gave you year in and year out. He's going to go down in the history books in La Vega for what he was able to do for a reason. Started as a true freshman coming in and had a phenomenal career. They got to replace that run game production. Bryson Rowland was kind of a do-it-all back for the Pirates last year. It wasn't just in the backfield. As we know, La Vega always has a stable of backs, so I have no issues or no concerns about that. They've always got running backs. Can they replace what he was able to do in the passing game, blocking? He did a little bit of everything for this team. When you're a 4-year starter, you've learned the system completely, and you do a little bit of everything for your team. That's what Bryson Rowland was able to do. So they lost him. But Jabari Thornton is still on this team, the Oklahoma State commit. I think is poised to have an even better season than what he had last year. And last year he played great. If he can come back out this year and not only reproduce the same way he did last year, but add on top of that, which I think he will, man, the sky's the limit for this La Vega team. With Courtney Parr at quarterback, with how well he played last year as a first-year starter, kind of got through in the fire mid-season, and this team elevated. They struggled early on, like we've seen La Vega do before in their pre-district schedule, because their pre-district schedule is always so tough. If they struggle like that again, I think they'll be okay this time, because now There's not going to be a back and forth on the quarterback thing. Last year, they were switching back and forth between Hernandez and Parr. They weren't exactly sure who they wanted to go with. Now, with Parr solidified as the starter, I think this offense is going to be even better. But LaVega's got a tough schedule now. They started off playing Kennedale. I believe they'll take out Kennedale. But right after that, they start the gauntlet that is their pre-district schedule, as they always do. Week 1, they got Kennedale. I believe they'll win. Week 2, they're right at Salina. At Salina. That's a tough game to come out week 2 and play. Week 3, West Orange Stark, a team they struggled against last year. Week 4, they got Brownwood. And then to wrap up their pre-district schedule in week 5, they have Stephenville, who is ranked one of the top teams in 4A Division I. They got a gauntlet of a schedule once again. For those of y'all that thought, well, LaVega won't play a tough pre-district, y'all know what Coach Odd likes to do. He wants to test his team early. He's going to put them in every possible scenario early on so they'll have something to go back to, something to glean from throughout the rest of the season. When they get into those tough games, they can say, oh, I remember when we were in this situation against West Orange Stark. I remember when we were in this situation against Salina, against Brownwood. They were able to take that on. I remember I've told it on the show before. Last year, see different people around the city, and they would say, man, why is LaVega playing this crazy pre-district schedule? And they don't come out with anything but losses out of those. Well, as the season progressed, we figured out why they play that tough pre-district schedule. Because they've been battle-tested by the time they get into the playoffs. Not only is this a tough pre-district schedule, a lot of those teams are divisions higher than them, like Stephenville, like Salina. Like they're reaching up to fight in these games. And it proves well for them towards the end of the season. As they get towards the end of the season, they cruised through the playoffs last year. Cruised through the playoffs against tough teams, not like they were playing some type of scrub teams. They cruised through the playoffs last year because they were so battle-tested in the regular season and, more importantly, in the pre-district. Coach Hyde knows what he's doing at LaVega, y'all. He knows what he's doing. They don't produce this way out of nothing. It doesn't come out of thin air. They produce this way because they know what they want. Coach Hyde knows what to get out of his players, knows how to get that out of his players. Last year in pre-district, they played pretty much the same teams. They lost to Salina. They lost to West Orange Stark at the end. They destroyed Brownwood after that, and then they lost to Stephenville. So they're playing the exact same pre-district schedule. I expect them to be able to pick up more wins. Last year, they started off the season 2-3. I expect them to pick up more wins through those first few seasons. That helped them get to the playoffs and be able to beat LaGrange 56-2. They beat West Orange Stark, the team that beat them early on in the season. I remember that was really the first game of me seeing Courtney Parr. Got in that game, made the game competitive, but it got away from him. Well, they played them again in the playoffs. They beat them 42-20. Played a Silsby that they beat 49-21. I mean, these are top-tier teams that we're talking about in 4A Division II that LaVega was running through. They beat Wimberley in the state semifinals 62-35 because of them being battle-tested early on, man. So Coach Hyde knows what he's doing a phenomenal job. I expect LaVega to have another great year. Waco High starts this season off against Granbury. I expect them to have more of the same results of last year. Marlin versus Lexington. This is going to be a fun one. I expect Marlin to come out with the victory here. Marlin starting to get some more recognition as of late as one of the top teams in the state in 2A Division I. Coming in ranked number 7 to start the season off. Franklin and China Spring, I expect to be fun. I want to see where China Spring is at. This is a measuring stick for me to see, okay, where is China Spring at? Are they rebounding? Are they getting back to what we're used to seeing out of China Spring? Will this be more like last season where they struggled a lot? That's what I'm waiting to see against this Franklin team. Even if China Spring loses, I think we'll be able to tell that by the way that they lose or by the way that they win, because Franklin is fully loaded. Franklin is coming in ranked number 2 in the state in 3A Division I. They're not playing around. Robinson versus West. Robinson is returning some really, really good guys. Evan Marino being one of them, who was a leading rusher last year in the Central Texas area. A guy that's explosive with the ball in his hands. A guy that's an every down back on the high school level. Robinson's going to be a force to be reckoned with this year. Remember, like I said, out of that division, out of that district last year, Robinson was the one that was ranked. The longest, La Vega wasn't ranked. Conley wasn't ranked. We saw Robinson come out and be the first guys to be ranked. So I expect another good season out of Robinson, as well as they're going to be taking on West to start their season off. And then Conley. What can we expect out of this cadet team? I think it'll be interesting. They still have the top-rated player in Waco, and that's Jamarian Vincent, who's committed to the Baylor Bears to play cornerback. He plays a little bit of everything if y'all watch any of Conley's games. He plays everything. But with him, with Evans out there, with a couple other guys that they have on their team, will they have enough to kind of get back to the success they had maybe even a few years ago when they had top-notch D1 talent and guys like Jelani McDonald and Corey Black and Trey Wisner and Kiefer Sibley? Can they get back to that status? We'll see as they start their season off playing the same pre-district schedule they played last year as well, and playing Little River Academy and Grandview and all those guys. They started off well last year. Conley started out really strong last year, kind of tailed off towards the end. Can they keep that consistency throughout the season is going to be their biggest question for the Conley Cadets. Can Jamarian Vincent's talent take over and win them some games? We've seen him win them some games. Even last year he won them some games. But he's going to have to do, I feel like, a little bit more of that this year in order for the Cadets to really have a chance to compete, not only in 4A Division II, but in this district. It's a tough district. Last year they started off 3-0, started to tail off after that in the season, losing their last 3 games of the season, including the playoffs when they lost to Belleville. So Conley is another team I'm excited to be able to watch. Like I said, they have the number 1 rated player in Waco on their team, and that's Jamarian Vincent. So I'm excited to be able to watch some of those guys as well. Football season right around the corner here in Waco, Texas, folks, as we are excited here on Centex Sports Network to debut Friday Night Flex, where you'll be able to catch all of the coverage of these high school games as we go more into detail about that. Folks, want to go through some quick takes here while we have time on the show here today. Like I said, a little bit of a shortened episode today for Centex Primetime, but still lots of going on around in the world of sports, and I want to be able to talk about some of that. We talked yesterday about, want to shout him out again, the former Conley Cadet and Corey Black making that 53-man roster. Definitely everybody down here is rooting for you, man. I think we had Wayne on here yesterday, and we were trying to figure out, could we think of anybody else from the Cadets that have made it to the NFL previously in their history. I couldn't think of any. If you guys know of any, let me know. You can drop them in the comments. You can comment it anywhere and let us know if there was somebody. But I think Corey Black is the first Conley Cadet to make it into the NFL, man. So I'm excited. I'm excited for him. Proud to see where they have gone, man. And like I said, his little brother probably not too far behind him at all. Coach Prime spoke on Shiloh being cut as people had questions. And, you know, Shiloh Sanders got cut from the Tampa Bay Bucks. Shador Sanders had his struggles in preseason in that first game, and Coach Prime spoke a little bit to that. Let's take a quick listen and hear some of. Let's take a quick listen and hear some of what Coach Prime had to say about his son getting cut from the Buccaneers.
Business. Shiloh had,
Yeah.
some bad. It's just how have you talked to him and how are his
Oh,
spirits?
most definitely. He's my son. I'm proud of my kids, all of them, and I prepared my kids for any and everything that could possibly happen in life and in sports. That's part of fathering. That's part of parenting. That's part of having a relationship. So he is mentally where he needs to be, physically where he needs to be. We're praying that he gets another opportunity to go with a team. But if he doesn't, the plans have already been put forward to what he's going to do next. So Shiloh is a man of many talents. I don't know if you guys know, he's a man of many talents, and he's going to be straight. All the Sanders are going to be straight, with or without football. You better believe that. You better believe that. I take care of mine, and I've always have, and y'all know what I mean.
So that was Coach Prime talking about son Shiloh being cut. The Sanders family, man, we talk about him a lot on here because everyone talks about him a lot. That's just what it is. Definitely fans of the Sanders family. Coach Prime, Shador, Shiloh, everybody. They don't Shiloh doesn't need to play football to be good in life or anything. Like he said, he's a guy with many talents. And the Sanders family have found multiple ways to rebrand themselves. Think about all the different things we've seen Coach Prime do. Shador, I'm sure when he's off the field, will have plenty he can do. Shiloh, in the exact same way. Like he said, he's trained all of his kids to be ready for these moments. I just find it funny how we try to underplay and downplay the clout, the cultural impact of this Sanders family. They try to diminish Coach Prime. We're watching actively as they try to diminish Shador. And Shiloh was an undrafted free agent. Him being cut by the Buccaneers was posted on ESPN, Bleacher Report, The Shade Room. It hit every media outlet I could think of. He's an undrafted free agent. Almost every single undrafted free agent that made a team or that was on a team in preseason got cut. Most of those guys were brought in to be cut. They might be able to make the practice squad or whatever role they end up in. It wasn't to be on the 53-man roster. But we see Shiloh being posted. We see Shador's stats being posted all the time. He finally went out there and struggled in the game, so now they have more fuel and more ammunition on what they want to talk about. But clearly, the Sanders family still dominating headlines, still dominating culture, man. And shout out to Shiloh. I think he'll probably find another job before he goes into coaching or whatever he decides to do. And then Shador, we all know Shador will be straight once he finds a way to get out of Cleveland, most likely. That's just my opinion. Can he play in Cleveland this year? Sure. But with all the jankiness that's gone on in just a short amount of time since the draft until now, I'm rooting for Shador to get out of there, not to be cut, or even if he does his 3 to 4 years in Cleveland and then continue his career somewhere else, man, I'll be excited for that. As we all know, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift got engaged and has made front page news, so we don't have to continue to talk about that. But just remember I told y'all now, Taylor Swift is going to perform at the Super Bowl halftime. They don't announce it until, I think, week 4 or 5 or maybe even 6 of the season. Taylor Swift is going to perform Super Bowl halftime. Travis Kelce is going to retire, and they're going to want the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. Sorry for y'all that don't have the script and didn't know what's going to happen. I'm just giving y'all a little peek behind the curtain on the script. Taylor's going to perform at halftime. Travis is going to come out and start shedding tears. He's going to get some game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl, and then Travis Kelce is going to retire. That's what I think is going to happen if the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl. And I don't even know if I have the Chiefs making the Super Bowl. I said last year, for those of y'all that watch the show, all last year I was saying they're not going to repeat. They're not going to repeat. Now, they pushed me to the limit. They got all the way to the Super Bowl, but they did not win. This year, I don't know if I'm picking them to win. Yesterday, I was on here with Wayne, and we were going through some of their roster, looking at the speed that they're going to have on the field. With former Baylor Bear out there and Tyquan Thornton, with Hollywood Brown, with guys like Xavier Worthy, who ran one of the fastest 40 times in the NFL Combine history. They're going to be dangerous. And then at midway through the season, they'll get Rashee Rice back. So I expect the Chiefs to be really good. At first, I was leaning more towards, man, they might not even win their division. But looking at it again, I'm like, they might be getting ready to do it again. They've become the new Patriots. You could just pencil the Patriots in for 12 wins and a divisional playoff berth, if not a conference championship berth, every year. And now that is literally the Chiefs, as they've made the AFC Championship every single year Patrick Mahomes has been a starter, which is one of the most insane stats ever. So I think the Chiefs are poised to do that. While we're talking about the Chiefs, Rashee Rice accepts his 6-game suspension for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy and will start serving the suspension at the beginning of the season. Now, we've seen him get in trouble off the field, in traffic out there in Dallas, dumb move, all of that. I'm sure he's heard that 1,000 times. He's moving on from that, trying to move on from that. He accepted this 6-game suspension. He's not going to fight it. I think that's smart. Hey, man, just go on about your business. In July, Rice was sentenced to 30 days in jail and 5 years probation after a multi-crash multi-car crash in Dallas that left multiple people injured during the 2024 offseason. Now, he could have got that suspension and that punishment last year, but he got hurt. And I know it sucks whenever you get hurt when you loom in suspension because they're going to wait till after that, after your injury, to start implementing your suspension. So he's going to miss even more time. After missing all of last year, he's going to miss the first quarter of this season as well, and missing 6 games. He will return in Week 7 on October 19th as they'll play the Las Vegas Raiders. Some more quick takes going on. There was some debate, I guess you could say, going on around. I seen it on Jeff Teague's podcast. He's talking about Russell Westbrook and Kawhi Leonard. Guys were arguing that Russell Westbrook had a better career than Kawhi Leonard, and there had some pushback on there. Now, okay, this is why Tracy McGrady and some of the other guys during the summertime when we have nothing to talk about, so we just do GOAT debates all day, we're saying that championships aren't everything. I love Kawhi Leonard. I actually think Kawhi Leonard is maybe a top 5 perimeter defender of all time. I have to think about my list a little bit more, but I think he's somewhere within there in that top 5 perimeter defender. A great on-the-ball defender when he was healthy in his prime. Kawhi Leonard is not better than Russell Westbrook. Doesn't have a better career than Russell Westbrook. Whether he's better, I'll let y'all debate that. He does not have a better career. And the first thing y'all go to is, man, Kawhi got championships. He got 2 championships, and he got 2 finals MVPs. That's cool. Kawhi was on stacked teams both of those times. Not taking away from his championships. You can't take away the championships. But that's a team award that we give to players too often. Too often we give players all the credit for having a championship, and we give players all the blame for not having a championship. Russell Westbrook been to the finals before. Played great in the finals. Just happened to be playing against the Heatles. LeBron, D-Wade, Chris Bosh. That was their first championship. This man has averaged a triple-double 4 times. Like, we tried to make it regular when he was doing it. And then now, as Jokic averages a triple-double, man, they're up in arms. I can't believe he didn't win MVP, and he averaged a triple-double. What is going on? And when Russ was doing it, it was, he's easy. He's stat pad, and he's doing all of this. He's got a league MVP. He's averaged a 30-point triple-double before. He's averaged a triple-double 4 times. He's made more All-NBA teams. I think Russ has had a better career. Yes, Kawhi's got the 2 championships. But Kawhi has missed so many. He's missed hundreds of games. Hundreds of games. And he's got the heroic shot, against Philadelphia where he knocks down the shot. And I think that 2019 Raptors run was great. But we're not going to sit here and pretend like if Kevin Durant played for the Warriors, they wouldn't have flushed the Raptors in 2019. They would have smacked them. KD was frying them so bad when he came back in the first 5 minutes that he tore his Achilles. After sitting out for 2 months, came in, played 5 minutes, and was torching Kawhi and whoever else wanted it. If Kevin Durant played, they don't have that championship. So, that's just a debate. You can lie on either side of the fence on that one. But like I've said before, we got to stop the Russell Westbrook slander. I know y'all see the lowlights. I know y'all see the videos of him throwing the ball up and it's hitting the top of the backboard, or him throwing a bad pass and it goes out of bounds. But we cannot forget the impact this man had on the game. We cannot forget him completely frying the NBA for like 4 years. He had 40-something points in that closeout game when they lost in the playoffs to Utah, a team they should have beat, while Paul George is going out there getting 9 points. We've seen Russell Westbrook. That was last time the Wizards made the playoffs when he was on the Wizards. Another year he averaged a triple-double. So come on, y'all. We're not going to do that. I respect Kawhi. I like Kawhi as a player, but Russell Westbrook, in my opinion, has a way, way better career than one of Kawhi Leonard. Adam Thielen found his way back to the Minnesota Vikings as Adam Thielen was traded from the Carolina Panthers back to Minnesota. They put a video out with him and his son, or him and his children, and they were happy about getting to go back home. Adam Thielen made his name out there in Minnesota, now getting a chance to go back to play with a young J.J. McCarthy. I think it's not only good for the Vikings, but good for Adam Thielen, man. When you get to that point in your career, You want to be able to go to where you're comfortable. He's comfortable in Minnesota, probably still owns all his houses in Minnesota. He gets to just go back home. Probably was spending time in Minnesota while he wasn't there, while he wasn't on that team. Probably was spending time in Minnesota. So I think that was super cool to see not only Adam Thielen, but we're seeing Amari Cooper back to the Raiders, who drafted him. Seeing Brandon Cooks back to the Saints, who drafted him. We're seeing Keenan Allen back to the Chargers, who drafted him. I think all of those guys will have an impact as well, outside of maybe Brandon Cooks. Not that Brandon Cooks is bad. There's not much impact to have on the Saints. I think the Saints, I said it yesterday, I think the Saints might be the worst team in the NFL this year. So I don't think Brandon Cooks will get a chance to have that big of an impact. But seeing all these guys get to go back home to where they were originally drafted, I think is super cool. Adam Thielen getting a chance to be one of them. Seeing a post going up on the 2022 draft class because almost every quarterback has been traded now that was drafted in that 2022 draft class. We always go back and call these people bust or call this guy this. I think the 2022 draft class might be the worst quarterback draft class we've seen in maybe a decade or two. The first guy that was picked was Kenny Pickett. Yeah, we know what Kenny Pickett is. We've seen him on the Eagles. We've seen him on the Steelers. Didn't even get a chance to play with the Browns before they traded him to Las Vegas. That was the first quarterback taken. After that, Desmond Ridder got traded a couple of times. Was just recently waived by the Cincinnati Bengals. Malik Willis, who I think could end up being second best quarterback in this draft. I mean, he looked good at Green Bay. He's on Green Bay right now. He was traded from the Titans. He looked pretty good in Green Bay. He might be the second best quarterback in that draft class. Matt Corral, not even in the league. Bailey Zappi, not even in the league. Sam Howell, who's had good moments when he was out there in the Washington Commanders. Now he's on the Eagles. It was in that class. And Skylar Thompson, who is towards the bottom of the Pittsburgh Steelers QB depth chart there, still in the league. And then, obviously, the last pick in the draft, very last pick in the draft, ended up being the best quarterback in the draft, and that's Brock Purdy. So, yeah, the 2022 draft class, we always talking about these busts and these guys. Their quarterback class, I'm willing to put them up there with anybody as one of the worst quarterback classes in the league. Some notable free agents that have been cut here recently as the NFL is getting ready for week 1 starting on next Thursday, so that means roster cuts. These guys got to shrink a roster from 90 people to 53 people in a week. So that means a lot of guys getting cut. Here's some notable ones that could end up helping other teams. One of them being Desmond Watson, the rookie defensive tackle out of Florida. Everybody has seen him because he's 460 pounds playing football. The Buccaneers put him on a weight program. He did not meet the expected weight loss, and they cut him. They said that he was not going to play for him at that weight. We saw him not practicing, and now we ended up seeing him cut. I would be excited to see if somebody will pick him up. You can't just get this. He was 460 pounds. What was the weight cut to? 400? 420? 440? And that dude's not going to lose that much weight in 3 weeks. If you want to just cut him because you say he's bad and he can't play football, well, that's your discretion to do. But to cut him because of a weight loss program, you knew he wasn't going to make that weight, y'all. You should have just went in and cut him before. I told him what it was ahead of time. I'm not exactly sure what the weight clause was, but at 460 pounds, you got a lot of room to go and a long way to go. Hunter Renfrow cut by the Carolina Panthers. I'm interested to see if Hunter Renfrow will get another shot with somebody. All the clips that I've seen out of training camp and preseason, he's cooking people. So I'm excited to see if Hunter Renfrow can get back on the team, man. I think he deserves it. Wanted to stay out there in Carolina. I believe he's from Carolina. Wanted to stay home. That ended up not working out for the Carolina Panthers. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, guy that we know from the LSU championship team in 2019, guy we know from Kansas City's championship runs, cut from the New Orleans Saints. Robert Woods, cut from the Steelers. Not surprising because Robert Woods is 1,000 years old. Don't know how he's still in the league. Tommy DeVito cut from the Giants. Robbie Chosen gets cut from the 49ers. These guys got to stop changing their names, man. Robbie Anderson. I don't know why he changed it to Chosen. And Deontay Johnson, who seems to have had a major fall off from being a max contract receiver at Pittsburgh to being on 4 different teams last year, now getting to the Browns this year and already cut before the season can start. Those are some notable names. Xavier Restrepo, the main target for Cam Ward in Miami. He, lobbied for his teammate to be able to get on the team in Tennessee, wasn't able to make the team. La'el Collins, a longtime offensive lineman for the Dallas Cowboys, also cut as well. So those are some notable cuts in free agency as, like I said, they got to cut their roster down from 53 all the way, or cut it from 90 all the way to 53. So they've got a long way to go. In college football, I want to look at some of these college football games for this coming up weekend. Before I do that, I want to take a look at what Arch Manning had to say. Arch said, the target's not on our back. We've got the red dot on everywhere else. Let's take a quick listen on Arch Manning and what he had to say about this upcoming season.
X on your back all season long where everybody is going to be coming for you.
I mean, I think that's all of us at Texas, and I think we kind of try to shift the narrative. We're going for everyone else. Target's not on our back. We got a red dot on everyone else.
Are you mentally prepared to have that?
So Arch Manning, very confident about his abilities and what Texas can do. Now, you have to speak like this if you're the quarterback at Texas. He can't come. What is he supposed to come in and say, oh, man, I hope we can get past these guys? No, we got the red dot. That's all going to start on Saturday morning when they go to the shoe at Ohio State. Originally, I picked Ohio State in this game. Texas versus Ohio State starts at 11 o'clock on Saturday. I picked Ohio State, but I think I'm leaning more and more towards Texas the closer we get to this because experienced quarterback play, regardless of Arch never being the main starter, he has started games before in college. That's more than Julian Saying has done. Ohio State replacing production. What is the running back room going to look like? I know they got guys. I know they went and got Donaldson from West Virginia. I know they got dudes out there that can play, but we have to see it on the field. We got to see it. We got to see it on the field. We have to know what these guys can actually do. Can they replace the defensive production they lost as well? It's going to be a tall task for the Longhorns going to the shoe at Ohio State. Right now, Ohio State a 1.5-point favorite. That margin is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking for a reason because no one is sure what's going to happen. And then it's week one. We have no film on either one of these teams. All we can go is based off of last year and what we predict. But I think they'll be fine coming up this weekend at the shoe, man. I'm leaning towards Texas. I'll make my final pick tomorrow before we get off the show. But right now, I am leaning towards Texas, man. I think Arch Manning is going to have a great year this year. I think Texas roster is fully loaded. If Trey Reisner can run that football against Ohio State is in trouble playing at the shoe because I don't expect a Julian Saying to be able to come out and put up 35 points in his first start. So I expect them to come out in this game and for the UT to have the advantage. Before we go over to college football, we'll take one last look at some NFL right here. Predicting some of the top players in 2025, according to NFL analysts and insiders of ESPN. Their top 5 players they have going into the next year: Patrick Mahomes, number 1. Josh Allen, number 2. Myles Garrett, number 3. Lamar Jackson at 4. Joe Burrow at 5. Pat Surtain at 6. Jettas and Chase at 7 and 8. Michael Parsons at 9. I think that's kind of funny. He's not playing. I don't know. He's going to be a top 10 player. And Chris Jones to round it out at 10. For the most part, I like the list. A lot of people were complaining. I think Mad Dog Russo was on First Take and complained, saying you can't put Lamar Jackson at 4. You're right. I 100% agree. You cannot put Lamar Jackson at 4 because you have to put Lamar Jackson at 1. You got to put Lamar Jackson at 1. Do I think Patrick Mahomes, when it all comes down to it, is Mahomes still the best player in the league? I believe so. But if we're just predicting the season, who's going to have the best season next year? I think it's going to be Lamar Jackson. Why? Because he's coming off of an MVP season, followed by what should have been an MVP season last year, but, voter fatigue. For some reason, we get, feelings for Josh Allen and feels like he should win one just because he hasn't won one yet. So let's let him win one. Not saying Josh Allen didn't have a phenomenal year. He did. But Lamar Jackson was literally better at everything than him last year outside of when they played each other in the game. I think Josh Allen outplayed him in that game, even though Lamar played well. Yeah, I will move Lamar up. Outside of that, I think everything else is decent. But I will move Lamar up higher on that list. I think Lamar is going to be the best player going into next year. Once again, I think Lamar Jackson is going to be the best player. Fantasy football is around the corner, folks. I know I have multiple drafts coming up. I have one draft tomorrow. I got another draft next week. I am super excited about fantasy football in the NFL, and I want to take a quick look at some guys that I think can be some sleeper pickups for you guys in fantasy football. One guy that I think will do good in fantasy football this year, Justin Fields. Now, I know that sounds strange. You're like, man, Justin Fields, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that. You have to understand how fantasy football works. I'm always looking for the dual threat quarterback because you can pick up more points. A guy that rushes the ball and can get 1 to 2 touchdowns a game. You don't need a lot of production out of the quarterback spot. But if he can rush the ball to go along with close to 200 yards per game, Justin Fields is going to have a big year. I think 18.8 fantasy points per game since 22 is what Justin Fields is averaging. That's pretty decent. So we're talking about sleepers here. I'm not saying who's going to be the top guy. These are sleepers. If you're in a deep league like myself, in a 12-team league, you're going to need those guys off the bench that can help you out, especially as injuries creep up, the bye weeks start going. You're going to need good replacements at the end. I like Justin Fields. Brashard Smith, rookie running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think this guy is going to end up, towards the end of the season, getting a lot of touches. Kansas City is a veteran team, but one position they have where young guys play a lot is the running back position. I think Brashard Smith is going to get a lot of burn, especially as the season progresses. That's a guy you might not even have to draft, depending on who's in your draft and depending on if their guys listen to the show or not. But you might even have to draft him. He might be a guy you can pick up at one of the later rounds. Emeka Ibuka, the receiver out of Ohio State for Tampa Bay. Man, this dude is going to be special. I think by the end of the year, he could be the number 1 target for Baker Mayfield. That's how highly I think of Emeka Ibuka. Chris Godwin is always battling injuries. Mike Evans is a big, deep threat target, but it's not a guy that's going to do a lot in between the lines. Ibuka is going to become that guy. I'm telling you right now, just remember I said it. It's going to be one of the favorite targets of Baker Mayfield, and I think Baker Mayfield is going to have an MVP type of season. I think he's going to have the same, if not better, production than what he had last year in Tampa Bay's offense. I think he might even have better production this year. So Ibuka is going to be a huge, huge part of that. Ray Davis, running back for the Buffalo Bills. This is a guy that towards the end of the year last year, man, really stepped it up, really played good. We know they just paid James Cook, but this is the run-heavy offense that they run in Buffalo. Very run-centric, run-heavy. Obviously, Josh Allen, everything revolves around him. But their running backs get a lot of touches, especially with Buffalo just not having a lot of weapons at receiver. Their running backs get a lot of touches. Ray Davis, I think, is going to split more time with James Cook, more than just the 3 or 4 or 5 carries he would get in some games last year. I think he's going to get an uptick in his carries this year, in his production. Another Tampa Bay guy I like, if y'all don't know, Tampa Bay's offense is going to be on fire this year. I think they're going to have one of the best offenses in the league. Another guy on Tampa Bay I like, Bucky Irvin, the running back out of Oregon a couple of years ago, really came on to solidify himself as that lead back last year. This year, I think he's going to get even more touches, taking touches away from Rachaad White, who a lot of people love in fantasy every single year. I think he's going to take some touches away from guys like Rachaad White this upcoming year as well. My last one, Cam Skattebo. I think Cam Skattebo had a pretty decent training camp and leading into the preseason. The Giants don't have much going for him on offense. It's Malik Neighbors and a bag of chips. We know that. Cam can come in and be another guy that can get a lot of touches. They're going to use him out of the backfield catching the ball. They're going to use him in short yardage, and they're definitely going to use him on goal line. So all of those are great things you look for in fantasy football. You're looking for guys to get those goal line touches. You're looking for running backs that's going to catch, because that's going to just be extra points for you each and every Sunday. Those are some of my sleeper picks that I like. Those are some of my sleeper picks I like this year in fantasy football. Like I said, I got a draft coming up tomorrow, and then after that, I got another draft the next week right before the season starts, so I can't wait to look at some of those. Let's look at some wide receiver over and unders in the NFL for week 1. These are 5 or 6 of the highest paid receivers in the league. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, DK Metcalf, Garrett Wilson, A.J. Brown, and Terry McLaurin. The highest paid receivers in the league. These are the over-under totals for their yardage next season. Jamar Chase, 1,300 yards. That's how you know you got to be cold. If you're if they're betting if you're going to get over 1,300 yards or not. 1,300 yards for a receiver is usually people's career numbers. That's hovering right around their best numbers. Jamar Chase stays healthy, he's going to clear this number. I'm taking the over. 1325.5 is his number for his over-under. I'm taking the over on that. Justin Jefferson, 1,250 yards. This is one that I would stay away from. I think Justin Jefferson is amazing. Jettas is one of the best receivers in the league. I think he's the second best receiver in the league. Health is a concern with Justin Jefferson. I feel like he's coming up hurt in big games a lot. For that reason, I will stay away from this one. I'm leaning kind of towards the under, but I would never take the under on a receiver like Justin Jefferson. I would probably just not play it because we know what he can do. We know what he's capable of. Talent-wise, he could easily exceed 1,200 yards, but with his injury history, with the new quarterback in J.J. McCarthy, we don't know how he's going to play. I will stay away from Justin Jefferson. CeeDee Lamb, 1,200 yards. Taking it over, no hesitation. Taking the over with no hesitation whatsoever. I'm taking the over for CeeDee Lamb, 1,200 yards. He's going to be the main target on what I think is going to be a top offense in the league in the Dallas Cowboys. Dak coming back, trying to prove himself, trying to lead this team. As I've said before, Dak is the de facto leader of this team now. There is no more Mike McCarthy in Dallas. There is no more Jason Garrett, any of these guys. They've got a brand new head coach in Schottenheimer who's never been a head coach. So the players are going to look to Dak. The players are going to respond to what Dak says. Not saying that they won't listen to Shotty. I'm just saying Dak is the de facto leader. Because of that, I think Dak is going to have a great year. And if Dak has a great year, that means CD has a great year. So I'm taking over on that 1,200 yards. DK Metcalf, 950 yards. Oh, man. You know, with Aaron Rodgers being in the system now, you would think I'll take the over on DK for that. I think they're going to have a lot of touches, a lot of targets, I'll say. But DK just does not produce consistently, man. He is the definition of a short All-American in my eyes. A lot of people love DK. I don't think DK is even a top 10 receiver. Maybe not a top 15 receiver in the league. That has nothing to do with his numbers. He can still get that 950. I think he will get to 950 this year. No George Pickens. Aaron Rodgers likes to find a main guy he can go to. Last year it was Garrett Wilson until Devontae Adams got there. Obviously it was Devontae Adams in Green Bay and Jordy Nelson in Green Bay. I think DK can be similar to that. He's going to have to prove to me that he can be a full receiver and not just a really big, fast guy that happens to play receiver, because that's how I think of him right now, how I've thought of him most of his career. Doesn't have the greatest hands, doesn't run the best routes. He's just a big, strong, fast guy. He's a poor man's T.O. Garrett Wilson, 925 yards. If he stays healthy, I'm taking over. I'm taking over on that. If he's healthy, I think he'll clearly get over 1,000 yards, but it's tough because Justin Fields is not Aaron Rodgers. Now, we've seen Garrett Wilson get production with guys worse than Justin Fields. That's why I would lean towards taking him on the over. Lastly, A.J. Brown, 1,100 yards. I would take the under on this one. Too many mouths to feed in Philadelphia, man. I know they won the Super Bowl, and so winning cures all. But A.J. Brown was pouting and reading books on the sideline. Shout out to A.J. Brown. Never seen a receiver get mad and read a book. I've seen Odell beat up a field goal kicking thing, whatever you call it, the net that catches it. I've seen him fight that for some strange reason. I've seen Ocho Cinco take his helmet off and throw it. I've seen T.O. do all type of crazy stuff. Never seen a receiver pull a book out because he got mad. So shout out to A.J. Brown for that. I think he will go under that this year. Too many mouths to feed, man. Dallas Goedert, Saquon, Devontae Smith, obviously. And then A.J. is also in that number. Too many mouths to feed in Philly. For that reason, I would stay away from it. Folks, want to look at a couple more games here in the college football as we get ready for this week in college football. Week 1 is going to be super exciting. Like I've said before, the best week 1 that I've watched since I've been watching college football, man. I can't remember one any better than this. We talked about Texas, Ohio State. We'll talk about some of the smaller games on a lower level that can still be competitive. Syracuse and Tennessee. Tennessee's a 13.5-point favorite in that. I will take Syracuse on the points. I do think Tennessee will win this game. I'll take Syracuse on the points, though. I don't think Tennessee's 14 points better than Syracuse. I know they don't have Kyle McCord, and their quarterback's got to play, but them adding guys like Jonte Cook, out there to receiver. And I just like Fran Brown. I think Fran Brown is one of my favorite coaches in college football. I think he's going to have these guys ready to go, ready to play out there. In Atlanta, where they're playing, a neutral site. Neutral, I guess you could say, is down the street from where Tennessee plays. At a neutral site at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta on ABC. I'm excited to see that one. Most of us, including myself, will not be watching a lot of it because it is at the same time as Texas, Ohio State, and the whole world is going to be watching that. These are some of the games I've been telling y'all about to stay away from. Penn State, Nevada. Penn State is a 43.5-point favorite. If y'all don't hear nothing else from me, for those of y'all that listen to me about what props to take, what over-unders to take, stay away from these games with these giant point totals, man. I'm not trusting nobody to beat nobody by 50. They want us to pencil somebody in for a 50-point win. I can't do it. Georgia Marshall, same thing. 40-point margin of victory is what they're predicting for Georgia. Got to stay away from it. I told y'all stay away from those games, and then look what happened this last weekend with Idaho State, I believe it was. And who are they playing? Can't remember who Idaho State was playing. But it was a huge spread. Idaho State, UNLV. Idaho State and UNLV. UNLV had a huge spread, 30-point favorites in this game. Ends up being a 7-point game. UNLV still comes out with the win. I stay away from those, man. I know it looks cool. It's eye candy. I stay away from them, though. LSU Clemson is going to be really fun, man. Super excited about that one. I picked Clemson. I'm rooting for LSU in this game. I'm always going to be rooting for LSU against Clemson. Rooting for LSU in this game. I think it's just going to be tough playing at their version of Death Valley. I ain't going to say the real Death Valley. I know they've been going back and forth which one is the real Death Valley. For my liking, I'm taking LSU on who's the real Death Valley. But in this game, I think I'm taking Clemson. Cade Klubnik, I think, is a better quarterback than Garrett Nussmeier. I think the Clemson has a pretty complete team this year, so I'm actually pretty excited to be able to watch Clemson this upcoming season. Virginia Tech and South Carolina, as we're looking at some of the smaller games. South Carolina will get the victory in this one. I do like South Carolina in the points as well at 7.5, playing, once again, at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. They got 2 games going on this weekend at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I like South Carolina. I think they're going to have a good year this year. Obviously, Lenore Sellers is on the Heisman watch list this year. They've got a good receiving core. Dylan Stewart, one of the best young defenders in college football. Really between him and Colin Simmons, I think, for best defensive end, best pass rusher in college football. For that reason, I would take South Carolina over them. But, folks, week 1 is sneaking up right on us as we're here. We're already here. Week 1 starting this weekend in college football. Week 1 starting this weekend in high school football. They'll actually be starting tomorrow. Tomorrow when we come back, folks, as we're out of time here today, tomorrow when we come back, we're going to talk some more high school football. We're going to dive into some of these games. Midway, taking on Round Rock Westwood. It's like a tongue twister or something. Taking on Round Rock Westwood tomorrow at 7 o'clock at UMHB. So we'll give you some analysis for that game on Centex Primetime, as we won't be able to preview that game for Friday as we're on Friday Night Flex. So we'll give you some analysis for that one. We'll preview some more of these games in week 1 in Central Texas for high school football, and we'll stay tuned with that. But we're out of time here today, folks. I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here on Centex Primetime. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place right here as we get ready to go through some more of week 1 for college football, some more of week 1 for high school football. We'll touch on Baylor, Auburn that's going to be played on Friday. We'll talk some more about Colorado, Georgia Tech that'll be playing on Friday as well. And week 1 for the NFL season starts next Thursday, so we'll give you a little bit of a preview for next Thursday and for the games following that. Out of time here today. As always, guys, subscribe to the YouTube, Centex Sports TV over on YouTube. Also, check us out on Facebook, Centex Sports Network. And make sure you guys go to our website, CentexSportsNetwork.com. That is CentexSportsNetwork.com. Go on there, check us out, get subscribed. Only need your name and your email, free subscription, get signed up quickly. We will see you guys tomorrow, guys. We'll be back here on Centex Primetime. Signing off here today is Jalen Gillis. Everybody have a great evening.